These are some of the earliest metal artifacts. They're made out of copper found in the Dead Sea area. So now we're moving from stone artifacts to metal artifacts, okay, in our look. These are the earliest swords. They're found in Turkey. They're made out of copper. Like I said, eventually they learned that if you mix tin, about 10% tin into the copper when it's melted, it causes the material to become much harder. Copper is very bendable. You know, you take a copper wire, you can bend it. Bronze tends to be less bendable, but it has a problem of being brittle where it can break. But it can hold an edge. Many of the razors throughout the ancient world were made out of bronze, even into Iron Age times, because bronze can hold a very sharp edge. But it doesn't bend very well. This is an early bronze sword. This is a bronze Hallstatt sword. This is an iron Hallstatt sword. These swords existed in the transition from bronze to iron. Iron is very bendable, but it doesn't hold as sharp of an edge. If you hammer the edge, what they call work hardening, you can create an edge that's fairly close to the hardness of bronze. But as a first approximation, you can consider bronze as being hard and brittle and iron as being soft and bendable. If you're in a battle, which would you rather have, a brittle, sharp sword or a bendable, dull sword? If you're in a battle, think about it. You want a bendable, duller sword or a razor-sharp, brittle sword? Brittle means it breaks. Would you rather have a bent sword or a broken sword? That's really what it came down to in battle. Plus, there are a lot of other things that play into it, such as natural resources and the technology that's needed to learn how to smelt iron and to find iron and to forge it and so on. But just in terms of battlefield practices, would you rather have a bent sword or a broken sword? Bent sword. Yeah, you can defend yourself with a bent sword, and you can probably straighten it out under your foot, which there are ancient texts that they would do that. Their sword would bend, and they'd put it under their foot and straighten it out and head back in the battle. And so you can see why iron would be more important if it could be bent, even if it didn't hold as sharp of an edge. And so we see the transition. Plus, every time I say this, I realize that's a simplification, because the transition from bronze to iron is occurring at a time when the trade routes that were trading the bronze collapsed in the 13th century. So that means that there were other reasons that they transitioned from bronze to iron, which include the availability of tin. If the trade routes break down, then you can't get tin. If you can't get tin, you can't make bronze. And so they began to depend more upon this other resource, which is iron, and that was enough to cause it to become more popular. So this is a bronze sword. You see it's bent a little bit, but you see how it's breaking? It tends to be more brittle. This is an iron sword, which has been bent into a circle from, that's the King Os sword from Scandinavia. Learned